Welcome to another special episode of the Real Estate Podcast with me, Nico James Bach, a broker with Royal LePage Signature in downtown Toronto. This is a special podcast because I am not talking about the market conditions, at least not during this podcast. I want to talk about a special project of mine that is coming to the Apple Store, the App Store. It is CondoWiz. So CondoWiz is a new app that, in collaboration with Bunch Consulting, a app development firm located in Kyiv, in Ukraine, we designed and brought to market a new app for iOS. So in this podcast, I want to talk about my experience bringing an app to the Apple Store and finally realizing a dream, really. This was a passion project that goes way back to 2012, 2013. And the reason why I created CondoWiz, the app, is because at the time, I was working with two clients that were looking for two different types of condos. One was looking for specifically a hard loft in Toronto, and the other was looking for a spacious condo within very close proximity to the subway. So these two clients I was working with around the same time, but they had a very similar style, and that style was to bombard me with questions about who the developer was of the various condos that I was showing them, and also who was responsible for the developments that were just springing up at the time. So they wanted to know not only the developer's name, when was the estimated completion date. One of my clients even asked me who the architect was. And at times they didn't even know the address of the project. They just gave me an intersection. So like Yonge and Bloor, what's the new development that's going up at Yonge and Bloor? Never mind which corner, just Yonge and Bloor. Or just another question was, when will the new development that is going up on what was the street at the time? It was Queens Quay. So there's a new development going up on Queens Quay East, and just basically wanted to know all the information surrounding it. In addition to that, the client that was looking for a hard loft wanted a very specific location. So, not to waste anybody's time, wanted to have a hard loft in or near the St. Lawrence Market or one other community that he had mentioned. So in most occasions, I simply responded to these client inquiries by saying, I'll get back to you. Sometimes I had the answer, but most of the time the questions were so nebulous that I had to actually do some research. And that research took up quite a bit of time. So I had to check several sources in order to get the answers that they were looking for. And then I eventually got back to them. So after about 2 months of this back and forth search for answers in Toronto's very, very densely populated condo market, I decided I just didn't want to have to go to very different sources to find the information. I wanted all the information to be in one source. And that's where CondoWiz came in. I developed the name with the assistance of another individual at the time, my sister, and we basically set out to develop the concept around CondoWiz. So I started with my building, the building that I am living in, and I just added it as a contact. So one of the challenges to finding information surrounding condo developments or any project in the city is you need an online source. So you have to be online in order to find the various pieces of information, and to bring that information to the client, you either have to take a screenshot or write it in notes. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to have a database available to me that I didn't need an online connection. So I thought quickly about entering the information in a regular contact database. A contact database that resides on your phone does not need an internet connection for you to access the names and numbers and various information regarding that contact. So I thought it was the perfect way to create a database. I just created a special contact database surrounding condos. And that's how CondoWiz was born. At that time, several months after entering about 750 to almost 1,000 condos, I decided that I wanted to make this available to other realtors. Primarily, that was my goal: is to if I was having difficulty in accessing or quickly locating the information that was requested of me, I figured other realtors perhaps would also experience the same challenges and would benefit from having one source. So I hired a website developer to develop a mobile website that contained the information that was in my database. So that was a very tedious experience, simply because the information that was in my database was not compatible, obviously, with the new database, the MySQL database that the website developers were creating. So I had to continuously export and out of my contacts database and import into the mobile website. That created a whole bunch of challenges, not the least of which was a downgrading of the photo that was imported and exported. So the quality of the photos was awful. It was really, really awful. When the project was completed in time for Realtor Quest 2013, I just noticed that the background image changed on its own. When it was ready for Realtor Quest, it was basically a hodgepodge of information. So I had dumped a lot of information into a contacts database. Yes, it was readily available by searching an address or the condo name. And I got a lot of people to sign up for the mobile website. It wasn't quite ready by the time the Realtor Quest rolled around, but the structure was there, and I got a lot of people interested in the product. When the product was finally ready to go live, it was 3 months had passed after that Realtor Quest experience, and a lot of realtors either had changed the position, so the contact information was off. But some of the realtors, obviously, that were remaining, subscribed to the mobile website, and the feedback was initially it was good in the sense that it was a very responsive mobile website experience, but the negative was that the quality of the photos was awful. So that reared its head again, and I decided to abandon the mobile website and continue the building of my contacts database. Since Toronto is the largest city in Canada, the most populous city, and it is also condo central, there were a lot of new projects that were being announced. So it was quite a challenge for me to continue working as a full-time realtor and updating and adding to the database. So I did that on my own, leaving the mobile website alone, and just continued. So if we fast track to 3 years ago, I decided there must be a better way to bring this to the public, and I thought of an idea to use an iOS developer. I was using, or I continue to use Apple products, so it was a natural progression for me to select an iOS developer. I did have Android in mind, and after getting some quotations for the project, it was determined that it would be most cost effective just to concentrate on one platform. So iOS was the platform of choice. So I selected among 3 developers that I found through LinkedIn. The winner, who was Bunch Consulting, as I mentioned before, in the Ukraine. So I was kind of skeptical about hiring a foreign so foreign companies are very, very big in technology and are very, very popular among Canadian consumers. I was still skeptical simply because of the language, the possibility of a language barrier. I had language problems with the website developers who were living in Toronto, but English was not their native tongue, and it was quite a struggle. So I wanted to bypass that or see if I could avoid that, and I had quite a lengthy interview with the head of Bunch Consulting, Anton Blasenko, and he convinced me through our exchanges that he, not only himself, but also his team was capable of handling the development of the app using English as the only language. So I hired them, and the estimate of how long it would take to bring this app to market was it was 7 weeks. So that was in October of 2020 when I had this first it was a LinkedIn exchange, and then it went through to email. And that was the estimated time, 7 weeks to bring the app to market. He provided a quote along with the other 3 app developers that I found through LinkedIn, and Bunch Consulting's quote was the most attractive, and also the timeline was of interest to me, whereas the other app developers gave me quite a bit longer timeline and a much higher, quite a bit higher quote. There was one Canadian company based in Toronto that was comparable in terms of price, but again, the timeline was quite a bit off. So with a 7-week estimate, I decided to go ahead with Bunch Consulting, and it took almost 7 weeks just to get the foundation laid for what I wanted the app to look like. So I initially estimated double what I was given. Working in the real estate industry, I'm often speaking with contractors, and I recently had my place renovated. So I understand that estimated timelines are rough estimates at best and should usually be taken with a grain of salt and often doubled. That's what I did. I just basically said, okay, 7 weeks, we'll take it to 14 weeks, and I will have a new app. It didn't turn out that way. There were a lot of hurdles, a lot of delays. And then when the app was supposed to be ready for testing in the later part of 2021, one of the head programmers, the lead programmers, was ceremoniously fired, let go from Bunch Consulting. So I basically had to start the whole process again. We had Christmas and New Year's, during which there was very little communication with Bunch Consulting. And then I just got very, very frustrated. Anyway, in short, we resumed talks in the beginning of 2021, I guess it was. And then the war hit. Perhaps that was 2022. It just happened. Everything happened so long ago now that it's hard to recall. But it was the beginning of the war of so 2022, February 2022, the war in the Ukraine. So that put a halt on everything. So moving forward again, they plowed through and managed to get a working copy of the app ready. This background keeps changing. Working copy of the app ready by the August of 2022, and I had to continue paying for not only the delays, but the many changes that were made to the app. And because the Bunch Consulting was very limited in their resources as a result of the war, I had to pay even more. So that is why I created the app, and that is why I selected Bunch Consulting. They finally got the job done towards the beginning of this year, 2023. So January 2023 was when I had a working copy to sort of flesh out. Had to work out a lot of initial bugs and issues. So that brought us to May, the end of April, beginning of May 2023. And then I was allowed to test flight. I had to create a developer's account with the App Store because I am named as the developer, and had to work through all of their many many layers. So finally, the app was submitted to the App Store 3.5 weeks ago. It was rejected for two reasons. One had to do with a privacy policy issue. The other had to do with not having a way to delete an account once it's created through the app. So those issues were resolved. It was submitted again to the Apple Store or to the App Store, rejected a second time related to those same issues that were not corrected properly, and then resubmitted. So to their credit, the App Store responded very, very quickly. So this, the submission and rejection was over a period of 4 days, basically. And on the fourth day, I received the news that the app had been accepted. So I had to go through a whole bunch of other layers to prepare the app for its release. The app is now ready to be released, and I've selected this coming weekend for its release, so within 2 days, and putting the final touches on the back end portion of the app through App Connect, and you will have a chance to download and experience the app for yourself. So that is it for this special episode. My name once again is Nico James Bach. I'm a broker at Royal LePage Signature Realty and the creator of CondoWiz. That's it for now. My contact information will be in the notes of the podcast, and this podcast, like the others that began in January of this year, are being recorded and available on YouTube. Ciao.